and I made him watch.
So are you going to be ready to do this on Instagram Live? Or
Yeah,
live Instagram?
absolutely.
Whatever.
I'm excited about it.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm excited just to, hopefully get to meet some people and have people,
Interact.
and
Yeah.
get an inside view of how we produce these episodes.
Yeah, it's a little exciting. I'm a little nervous about it,
Yeah.
but that's a week from now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, we'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll work it out. We'll definitely work it out.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to And I Made Him Watch, the podcast where I make my husband watch weird movies. I'm your host, Dani Page, and here with me forever and always, the bearded beauty, filmmaker, and my husband, Troy Allen. Sup, babe?
Oh, not much, babe. How are you?
I'm good.
Living the good life?
Yeah.
Over there in the passenger seat?
The passenger seat, yes. Yes. Always, forever. Passenger princess. Definitely.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm excited for this episode. The film was actually pretty good.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
It was a very classic movie. It was a classic feeling movie.
Okay. I get that.
Definitely had, old style like Dracula vibes, obviously, but yeah, all in all, a decent movie.
Yeah. So I made you watch House of Dark Shadows from 1970. So this grandpa-looking vampire wakes up and tries to get with a governess, but then is cock-blocked by his descendants. I gave the movie a 3 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm probably gonna go with like a 5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's just, I feel like Barnabas's vampire is kind of up there on par with like a Christopher Lee or Bela Lugosi vampire.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just his acting or not, but a lot of the shots made me feel very, nostalgic, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll get into it though.
Yeah, we are going to get into it now. So as the movie opens, we get that classical eerie music and a fade-in of a mansion in the background dripping with shadow. Super spooky.
Yes.
We see Maggie and Daphne on the stairs of the home inside the mansion, and Maggie is asking Daphne if she has seen David. Maggie is played by Catherine Lee Scott and Daphne by Lisa Richards. Maggie continues to search for David, not finding him inside the house, and she begins to search the grounds of the estate. Inside the old carriage house, Maggie starts to look for Willie Loomis, who is the handyman around the estate for the Collins family. And also Willie should look familiar. He's played by John Carlin, the actor from Daughters of Darkness, who plays Stefan.
As soon as I saw, so I didn't quite catch him when he's first shown, but shortly thereafter I saw his face and I was like, no shit.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is, it's come full circle, for sure. For those of you that are just now tuning into the podcast and stuff, our very first episode was on Daughters of Darkness.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to our Daughters of Darkness episode, I do recommend it. It was our very first episode.
Yeah, and a very interesting one at that, for
sure. Oh,
sure.
yeah. Anyways, Willie tries to make some moves on Maggie, and she's like, boy, don't touch me. Literally says, don't touch me. And he then pulls out this page from an old book, and he states that the page reveals where the hidden jewels are. Right. Willie is interrupted by Roger Collins, played by Louis Edmonds. Collins wants Willie to help look for David, but Willie's like, nah, not my kid, not my problem. and Mr. Collins fires him on the spot. Like, you can get your last paycheck. Like, it'll be waiting for you. I gotta go find my kid.
The one thing that stood out to me in this scene was we're no more than 5 minutes into the movie, and he's already like trying to fucking sexually assault Maggie.
Yeah.
Willie is, and I was like, there it is, the old sexual assault. You know, it wouldn't be the 70s if there were
It would not.
essays in the film.
So, just to get a little bit of understanding of our characters, Maggie is the governess for the Collins family for their son David. The girl Daphne is like a secretary at the house. And like I said, Willie is a handyman, and then Mr. Collins is Collins, like he's the head of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So then we watch as Willie goes about the grounds of the estate using the page to try to find the jewels. Following the clues leads him to this mausoleum, and then he continues to use the page to find the hidden room in an underground crypt. He comes across a chained-up coffin and begins to open it. And I don't know about you, but if I ever came across a chained-up coffin, I'm sure as fuck not opening. It's one of those, put it back moments. Like, no. Put it back where you found it.
It's like, bro, you doing a little bit too much whiteness right now. Like
some white people shit.
Yeah, this is some white people shit. But I have to admit, though, that is a badass looking coffin.
Oh, yeah.
That was nice.
The visuals of this movie and the atmosphere of this movie is amazing. It's great. That's not one of the reasons why I gave it a 3 out of 10.
No.
Not at all. It's very well shot. The cinematography is great. The shots are very provoking, and it makes you feel like you're in that type of like haunted house type of eastern upstate type of place. You know what I mean? New England haunted house. Meanwhile, Maggie is still searching for David, and she goes into one of the rundown mansions on the estate. The estate's called Collinswood, by the way. The mansion is it's run down. Also, she's attacked by a kitten at some point. Then a figure runs past Maggie and traps her inside one of the rooms. Meanwhile, Willie gets the coffin open, and as he opens the lid, a hand reaches out from the coffin and grabs him by his throat, revealing this really big ring on his hand. Daphne leaves for the night and begins to walk the long driveway to her car at night by herself. Great idea, big brain moves. Getting spooked, Daphne makes a run for it, and you really think she's about to make it when she gets into her car, but then the passenger door opens and then she is attacked.
Going back to the Willie Loomis part, I wasn't expecting him to get fucking choked out.
No.
Like that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of startling a little bit. And then with Daphne, the whole time her walking that long ass driveway, I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? It's obviously creepy as shit.
You got howling in the background.
Yeah, there's howling, there's like bats, the sound of bats and stuff. But what I did like the most about that scene is the way that the camera is shooting through the car and watching her get into the car. And I feel like we've been conditioned by horror films to expect something to chase after her.
Yes.
So when that didn't happen, we were like, okay, well, maybe she's fine, she's safe, she's in the car now. But then you're smashed in the face by this arm opening the passenger door and her being assaulted that way. So I really like that. That they didn't give you what you thought you were gonna get.
I also thought it was interesting is because we've talked about this before in several other films and movies we watched outside the podcast of how they hide the monster. I recently got you to start watching Interview with the Vampire, and there are moments, I've seen the series like twice now, and there are moments where you see like Lestat, but you don't see him, and I pointed it out, and you're like, yeah, they're hiding the monster because he's the monster.
Yeah.
In this movie, you've had a show that's been running for like 4 or 5 years at this point, and these actors are playing the original actors from the soap opera. So they know who Barnabas is. They know what's happening, but they still chose to hide him for a really long time. And I thought that was really interesting.
I mean, it's a staple of horror films. You know, any
Mm-hmm.
horror film you see, they're always gonna hide the monster from you
Yeah.
to
Just,
stretch that tension as
yes.
far as they can.
So Daphne is found by Jeff Clark, played by actor Roger Davis. Jeff is, I think Daphne's boyfriend, or is, no, I can't remember how Jeff is actually tied into the family. I tried to research it. I think he's a friend of the family, or he's dating someone at the house or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's revealed that Daphne had been bitten on the neck. Also, Maggie is still trapped in the abandoned room while all this is happening. And unknown to anyone, David sneaks back into the house. Meanwhile, Maggie's hearing someone sneak through the house that she's in, and they unlock the door for her and open it. But then Jeff shows up, scaring away whoever opened the door.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. That whole scene was just kind of wild.
Well, Jeff is dating Maggie. I was thinking Todd for some reason. Todd is dating Caroline,
Right.
who we
Right.
haven't really met yet.
No.
So sorry, I had to. It's a lot of people. It's a good bit of people. There's lots of like family members and like spouses and like partners and stuff. Sorry.
But yeah, that whole shot of the door being open from the other side and
Mm-hmm.
Maggie and stuff, I was just like, ooh, Maggie about to get got.
Yeah, Maggie was crazy. Like she was just insane at that point. It's so dramatic. But that's one of the reasons why I did give it a 3, because it is so soap opera-y at some moments, and I'm like, ugh, it's over the top and a little too much. Like, being dramatic and over the top is fine at a certain level, but at certain points in certain situations where it's exploded, a little bit,
Mhm.
it's like, okay, come on.
I think if you went back and watched the actual soap opera, though, the source material, as it
Mhm.
were, I think you may see like they're just trying to like mirror
I think so,
sort
probably
of
a little
kind of
bit.
the show.
And these are actors of a soap opera.
Yeah.
This is what they're used to doing. I have seen a few clips from the original show, and it is just as dramatic, especially Caroline.
Yeah.
Back at the main house, Dr. Hoffman, or Julia Hoffman, it's a woman, played by Grayson Hall, has examined the bite mark on Daphne and claims that no human could have made those 2 puncture marks. Mr. and Mrs. Collins kind of argue about what to do about David's actions and blaming him for Maggie getting trapped and scared. We learned that at a local bar that another woman has died, and the police compare it to Daphne's attack, but the dead victim was actually strangled but also bitten. The Collins' daughter, Caroline, played by Nancy Barrett, Nancy Barrett, and her boyfriend Todd, played by Don Briscoe, spot Willie at the bar and see him eating with a stranger.
Yep. We're gonna soon learn that Carolyn is dude, she's so fucking nosy. Like the whole time I'm just like, why don't you just mind your fucking business, dude?
I don't think it's that she's nosy. She's kind of obsessed. I think there is a allure to the vampire. Always. Every time. No matter what they look like or, what it is. But some people are just going to have that pull towards that type of creature, I guess.
True, and we do see that in this film.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. There's that like hypnosis factor of the vampires.
So Barnabas Collins, played by Jonathan Fred. Fred.
Sure.
Fred. Calls on Elizabeth Collins, Mrs. Collins, claiming to be a cousin from England. We get this first person view because we still haven't seen Barnabas's face. We haven't seen what people are seeing. So we get this POV of Barnabas going through the parlor, looking at the paintings and furniture, and then he plays a long note on an organ before Mr. Roger Collins walks in and says, "If I didn't see you with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it." We see a portrait of one of the Collins's ancestors who happen to look exactly like cousin Barnabas.
I know. What are the fucking
I
odds?
know, isn't that
Right?
crazy?
It's a spitting fucking image.
That's so nuts. Who would have thought? That's
Dude.
wild.
And there's no possible way that it's actually just a portrait of him.
Oh no.
Could
Obviously.
not possibly
No.
have been.
Not at all.
And I'd like to point out that up to this point, the cinematography in this film was, it was decent. It wasn't the best and it wasn't the worst I'd ever seen.
I think for what it is and what the feelings they were trying to evoke and the emotions they were trying to purvey and stuff and the views of things, it was pretty good for what it was meant to be.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst, but we do see some decent shots later on in the film, for sure.
So the family goes over the history of the family a little bit, and when Barnabas is questions about his life in London, he changes the subject pretty quickly. I wonder why. He then gives Elizabeth the quote-unquote missing jewels, which is this necklace, claiming that Naomi, the first Barnabas's mother, had given the necklace to his ancestors before they went to England. Carolyn develops an infatuation with Barnabas and goes to look for him at the old house. She discovers Willie there and he tries to distract Carolyn and starts to tell her that he's working for Barnabas, and she begins to question Willie about Barnabas, but he interrupts, and Carolyn then starts questioning Barnabas. There's a lot of back and forth here. Carolyn starts to flirt and is laying it on thick on old Barney. I'm going to call him Barney a few times, by the way. Barnabas is just a mouthful.
I love it. I would like to point out, though, that, so this fucking guy, which apparently they know.
Who? Which one?
Barnabas.
Well, yeah, he's family now.
I know, but, they didn't know that.
No.
He just told them that.
Well, he has things to prove. I mean, the portrait, he looks just like his ancestor, the necklace thing.
Well,
because the picture of Naomi, the portrait of Naomi, has that same necklace he gives to Elizabeth.
Right. But I'm just saying, he just shows up, tells them that he's their long lost cousin from England. He has a resemblance to their ancestors and stuff like that, and they just buy it.
Yeah, it's a movie. What do you want me to?
I don't fucking know. Some logic, I guess.
It's the 70s and stuff. You don't have access to information and files and history and stuff, and you can't just look someone up on Facebook.
They didn't have Ancestry.com or anything back then?
No, honey, I'm sorry.
You spit in a tube?
No.
Sip it off? Man, those were the days, huh?
It almost sounded like you said you're going to sip it.
Yeah, you sip that fucking tube, man.
Anyway, and Barney takes the hint. He's like, okay, Carolyn. So as Carolyn is getting ready for a costume party the Collins are hosting, Barney attacks her, but doesn't kill her. Later at the party, Carolyn engages with Barney, but he's now giving her a cold shoulder. Triggering. And as it asks about Maggie when he sees her from across the party. Carolyn notices how Barney's looking at Maggie, and she's not taking it too well. She's already jealous. She's already obsessed. She's already like, this is my man's. But Barnabas introduces himself to Maggie and makes a comment about her dress, and she claims to have found it in a trunk. Barney lets her know he thinks that the dress belonged to Josette Dupré, the OG Barnabas fiance.
Yeah, he thinks. Yeah, he knows.
Later that evening, Carolyn witnesses an intimate conversation between Maggie and Barney. Oof, that's gotta hurt. They're really into each other, it seems.
Yeah, I thought we were about to see a cat fight. Just fucking. Sorry.
He convinces Maggie to stay working for the Collins family as David's governess. Carolyn interrupts and Maggie tells her she's going to stay, and Carolyn is so pissed. And Barney then calls out to Josette as he watches the two women leave.
So during that scene of Barnabas and Maggie talking and him trying to convince her to stay or whatever, there are some really good extreme close-ups of their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And it really gives you that
Intimacy.
The intimacy between them. But there's also that factor of hypnosis almost coming from him being the vampire. So I thought that was really well done. Really well done.
Okay, so Barnabas shares with Willie the backstory of Josette and himself. And everything seems to be going well between the two, but then Barnabas was cursed with the vampire curse, but he offered her eternal life and then she killed herself. Barnabas's own father then locked him inside the coffin where Willie found him. Barnabas had convinced himself that Maggie is Josette's reincarnation, and that Carolyn, being the nosy bitch she is overhears his plan for Maggie. She then throws herself at him, proclaiming her love, and threatens to tell Maggie everything. And Barney's like, grabs her and bites her. And while he's doing this, Willie's just kind of standing there over the thing like, Barnabas, no, what are you doing? Barnabas, don't do that.
I can't believe you've done this.
A wounded Caroline is then escorted to the outside of the mansion by Willie, and he's like, I gotta go, I can't go in, and warns her never to go back to Barnabas. He then leaves her standing outside. She makes it inside the door, and then her body is found by a maid.
I found it really interesting how Willie just kind of became Barnabas's familiar.
He's Renfield.
Yeah. He's Guillermo.
Guillermo. He's the vampire's assistant.
Yeah, it's familiar. Also, poor Caroline, but she should have minded her own fucking business.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, she's fucking nosy, and she got what she got.
You know, those crushes be strong.
I guess.
And they're a reason why they're called crushes, you know? You get fucking crushed. Carolyn got fucking...
Her throat got crushed.
So, after Caroline's death, Dr. Hoffman begins to examine the samples from her neck. She discovers a cell that she's never seen before. Professor Stokes, who studies the occult and paranormal activities, who's a friend of the family.
I think you said strokes.
It is Stokes.
It's Stokes.
Or Stokes. Sorry. It's Professor... We struggled. Never mind. No. Okay. Professor Stokes, who studies the occult and paranormal activities, he's a friend of the Collins family, asked Dr. Hoffman if she believes in vampires. And she laughs it off, and Stokes is 100% serious about it. They go over the facts about vampires. You can't go out during the day, and they don't have reflections. You know, the classic shit. Dr. Hoffman says if that's true, it might be curable. And Stokes is like, nah, they're the living dead, so no saving that.
Yeah. It's funny. Stokes tells her that, essentially implying that there's a vampire in the midst. And she's like, no, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, I couldn't go tell the police about it because then they'd think I was crazy. And it's like,
yeah.
It's like, dude, she already thinks you're crazy. Which we'll find out sooner than later that he's not as crazy as he seems.
Yep. Meanwhile, David is playing catch by himself, chanting, if I catch this one, Carolyn isn't dead. It's pretty sad. When the ball rolls away, David goes after it, falling into a hole and hitting his head. And that rhymes a little bit. if I catch this one, Carolyn isn't dead, falling in a hole, hitting his head. Yeah, that
Man,
rhymes.
you're a fucking poet and you didn't even know it.
God, why you gotta do that?
I don't know.
Why you to do that? Also, the family thinks David is in his bed having a nap, so no one's looking for the kid.
Oh, he's having a nap, all right.
Yeah, technically they're not wrong.
True.
He's just in a hole.
David's a fucking genius.
David, yeah, that's a smart, bright kid right there. He's got a great future ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
When David wakes up, he crawls out of the hole and hears the voice of Carolyn calling to him. He follows her voice and meets Carolyn, but David's like, stay away from me, you're dead. You just wanted her to be alive, kid.
It's like you wanted her to not be dead,
like,
and then freaked out.
Why did you follow her voice?
This fucking kid, man.
David interrupts dinner, screaming that he saw Carolyn. His father and mother are like, cut out the crap, and Stokes is like, where at, kid? Maggie takes David to bed, and Mr. Collins starts questioning Professor Stokes, who believes David actually saw his sister. No one is convinced, but Dr. Hoffman. Hoffman's kind of like,
yeah, it's like she knows something.
He warns Carolyn's boyfriend Todd to be careful because she would most likely. Oh no, not Todd. Jeff, right?
No, it's Todd.
Okay, they both look so like familiar.
Yeah, but Todd's the idiot though.
Okay, so he warns Carolyn's boyfriend Todd to be careful because she would most likely go after him because of their close relationship.
And because he's a fucking idiot.
He's not bright, that's for sure. He's not the brightest light bulb.
Yeah, he's not the brightest light bulb, and he just keeps getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. Like, I don't know. He just kind of sapped the energy out of me.
Todd then does the exact thing he shouldn't do. He goes to Carolyn's grave where, guess what? She's there waiting for him, and she bites him. The next morning, Dr. Hoffman gives Todd a blood infusion. It's not shown like what happens to Todd or where he's found or anything. They might have mentioned it, but I didn't catch it. But the next scene is him in the hospital, like in the medical bed in the mansion. Dr. Hoffman gives him a blood infusion. It's revealed that the sheriff has put a curfew on the town because there have been other incidents. Back at Barney's, Carolyn wakes up from her own coffin next to Barnabas's. Aw, romantic, sweet, cute. He tells her she's not allowed to go to Todd ever again. She's like, but I want him. And Barney adds that she cannot go near anyone from Collinswood. He then has Willie guard Carolyn and that she's not to leave.
Dude.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is this the part where we see the oh no, this is that. Okay.
Okay. Barney visits the family and he gets all the tea about what's going on. Dr. Hoffman then notices that Barney has no reflection in her compact mirror. Barnabas goes home and finds Carolyn has attacked Willie and escaped. Big shocker. Big shock.
I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead.
You left Willie to watch over a vampire?
Probably not the best move, to be honest.
What were you expecting Willie to do? She's a vampire.
Okay, you stay here, Willie. I'm gonna go do some vampire shit. You got it, boss.
Honestly, it's a little, I think, sexism going on. Expecting that Willie, being a man, would be able to handle Carolyn. But...
yeah.
No. Nope.
No.
Carolyn's a real one.
Yeah,
you know?
well, she's a vampire,
Yep.
First off. They're traditionally stronger than everybody else.
Traditionally, yes.
So,
So while paroling the estate, 2 cops almost run over Caroline. Inside, Todd wakes up and attacks the guard and slips out of the house to find Carolyn. Todd finds her in the abandoned carriage house, and she gives them the big old bite. The police then go into the carriage house searching for Todd, and they almost missed them until Todd knocked something over. The police corner Carolyn with flashlights and silver crosses. Professor Stokes, I wrote Strokes there on accident. So the professor then nails a stake into her chest, into her heart.
Yeah. So first off,
Mm-hmm.
Julia figuring Barnabas out with the compact and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, I was like, that's really well done. Because typically you'd see like a bigger mirror, like they walk in front of a mirror and you don't see them or whatever. But the fact that, because it was very
Subtle, kind of.
subtle
Mm-hmm.
and organic feeling, like it didn't feel like it was forced at all. And then with the cops, when they were doing their patrolling or whatever, and they were doing like all of 20 mile an hour, and then Carolyn's standing in the fucking road, and then they just could not avoid hitting the fucking tree.
Yeah.
Like, bro, just hit the brakes, bro. Just stop the car. You ain't got y'all just being too extra.
Well,
right
I
now.
guess seeing, the appearance of who you know is dead in the middle of the road would probably scare you, freak you out a little bit, cause you to swerve.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm not buying it. Also, Todd's an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Second, and furthermore, the whole like classic wooden stake through the heart thing, I really like that.
Yeah.
I like that they did that.
Mm-hmm.
That was really well done.
The special effects were pretty good. Not gonna lie, like
Yeah.
how her body is laying after it's dead. Like you can tell it's probably like a fake body, but it's beautiful. It's very well done.
Yeah.
Mrs. Collins has stopped talking, by the way, like just dazed and confused. Dr. Hoffman then visits Barnabas's house, and Willie tries to chase her away, but Dr. Hoffman stays and hints that she knows what's happening when the sun goes down. Barney shows up and is like, "What's up, Doc?" And Dr. Hoffman then uses a cross against Barney and tells him that she could save him by destroying the vampire cells and eliminating the curse. Barney agrees to do the treatments, and they start right away.
Yeah, I was like, Willie needs to stay in his fucking lane, dude.
He's trying to do too much. He's
I
trying
know,
to
bro.
protect people, I guess.
I know, but you need to be worrying about number one first off, because you living with a vampire, bro. What do you think's gonna happen?
With no more attacks, Dr. Hoffman lets Barney know that Stokes is sure that the vampire has disappeared. It's clear that the doc has the hots for Barnabas, by the way. She's fallen for him. I don't know what Barnabas has, but he's got it. And the ladies like it.
The boy is packing.
Ooh.
He got that heat, you know what I'm saying?
No. Later, Maggie and Barnabas have a romantic dinner, and Willie tries to third wheel the date a little bit. And then Barney then gives Maggie Josette's old music box. And this was after telling Hoffman that he was going to give it to someone he loved. Ugh.
Yeah.
Willie is like, "Barney, my boy, you gotta stay away from from Maggie." And Barney's like, "Nah." And Willie's like, "She's spoken for." And Barnabas is like, "Nah, I'm done something for Jeff. Like, he's gotten rid of Jeff somehow." It's not really mentioned how he did it. It is mentioned later on, where he was, but for what for and the reason why is not mentioned.
Well, he says he's done something for Jeff, not to Jeff.
Exactly. Willie then tries to convince Maggie that she should leave Collinswood. And Maggie's like, "If you can't tell me what it's about, I don't want to hear it." That night, Maggie has dinner at a restaurant with Barnabas, and Maggie rats on Willie about him warning her that she was in danger. And when Barney gets back home that night, he is upset. He then beats Willie with his cane, and Willie then confesses that he talked to Professor Stokes about Barney.
I was like, oh man, Barnabas is pissed.
Oh, yeah.
He came in that motherfucker swinging. But I can't blame him though. Willie needs to learn his place, and he does. He does.
The next morning, Stokes shows up and sees Willie's beaten face. Stokes confronts Barney about being a vampire, but due to the treatments, he can now walk around during the day. Stokes is like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to find out. Stokes then goes to Julia and confronts her about the treatments. Realizing that Hoffman is in love with Barney, Stokes lets her know that the only one Barney wants is Maggie.
Yeah, yeah, and Julia, she's kind of in too deep.
A little bit.
She fucked up.
She kind of fucked up. She let them feelings grow too much. Sometimes you gotta distance yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta take a step back.
And he's a killer, Bella. I mean, Julia. Fuck, sorry.
Barney and Maggie go for a little hike during the day, and Dr. Hoffman watches the pair being super creepy about it. Barnabas asks the doctor if they can speed up his treatments, and she's like, no, because that would be bad for your system. He lets her know that he plans to ask Maggie to marry him. As Hoffman begins to prepare the nightly treatment for Barney, she recalls Stokes' words. Then, fueled by heartbreak and jealousy, she gives Barnabas more than the normal dose. When Barnabas realizes something is wrong, he goes to Hoffman, finding her packing her things. He puts two to two together, figuring out that Hoffman has betrayed him. The overdose makes Barney age rapidly. He then strangles Dr. Hoffman.
I was like, holy fuck, dude. I would kill her too. You look like a fucking testicle, bro. Like
He
hair
looked
and
like
all.
Emperor Palpatine.
Unlimited power.
He did. He was all kinds of like
He
droopy
looked like a
or
damn.
wrinkly.
Yeah, he looked like a damn Sharpay with Down syndrome, bro. Like it looked really bad.
No, the Sharpay with Down syndrome.
Bro. I mean, Barnabas looking tired. He worn out, yo. Get the man some Ensure or something. He looked. Matter of fact, you remember those Six Flags commercials from back in the day?
Yeah.
He looked like that, man. That's what he looked like. Good lord.
Oh God.
I wasn't expecting it. Caught me by surprise.
Okay, Maggie rushes in to check on the ruckus, and Barnabas attacks her. Mrs. Collins then goes to investigate and sees Barnabas drinking the girl's blood. Maggie goes into it like a coma, and Jeff rushes home from Boston to be by her side. So he was in Boston for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Stokes investigates Barnabas' house, discovering the portrait of Josette, and then goes to the police and explains how Barney is old now. The guys figure out that Barnabas wants Maggie because she looks like Josette. No fucking duh.
Yeah, it took you fucking long enough.
Jeez. These people,
Some,
catch up,
yeah,
faster.
Some fucking detectives you are.
That night, Barney goes to Maggie. He attacks and kills the guard. Maggie wakes up and she sees the decrepit Barnabas. And in a trance, she removes her cross and the bandages around her neck. Barney then gets to sucking, and when he pulls back, he is retransformed back into his younger self, which really isn't that young, honestly.
He may be in like his 50s.
Late 50s, yeah. And Maggie's probably like in her 20s. It's that thing. It's that 60, 70, like
it's starting to seem more
older
like
man.
like an arranged marriage sort of thing.
It's kind of gross.
Like he paid like 3 goats for her or something.
Jeff goes to check on Maggie and finds the bed empty with blood on her pillow. The police and Jeff then head over to Barney's house. The sheriff gives his guys and Jeff silver bullets, telling Jeff he'll have to shoot Barney in the heart to kill him.
For some reason, you saying Barney's got me thinking of Barney the Purple Dinosaur.
Oops.
Like, imagine
No.
if you
No.
a fucking plush purple dinosaur running around.
Vampire.
Can you just hear, I love you, like from a dark fucking deep hallway?
No.
You can't even see what's down there. You just hear the fucking heavy breathing.
I love you.
I love you. Sorry.
Okay, later that night, for some reason, it's nighttime now. Jeff is woken up by some strange man with a note, and he says it's from Mr. Collins and Professor Stokes, with a location on it, St. Eustace Island. So Jeff goes into a boat and heads out to the island. Jeff meets up with Stokes on the island, and he tells Jeff that Barnabas isn't here. Stokes then attacks Jeff because, surprise, he's a vampire now. Jeff is able to shoot Stokes in the heart with his silver bullets.
Yeah, Jeff unloads that fucking gun, like point blank.
Mm-hmm. Like
And it was pretty brutal.
Over it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know when Stokes became a vampire.
No, it's not. It's not shown.
Like, that's because how they've done it in the movie, you have to like be buried, or at least be dead for like a day, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to Carolyn.
Yeah.
But Stokes is just like automatic vampire somehow.
Yeah.
Another reason why I gave it a 3. Loopholes.
Yeah.
Plot holes. Excuse me. Jeff then heads to Barnabas' house searching for the vampire and his girl. In the house, he finds Mr. Collins bitten and drained of blood. Jeff begins to look for a weapon for a while, and then he finds this like silver spike. He then uses it to kill Mr. Collins. Not sure if he was actually a full vampire though.
I felt bad for Collins because he wasn't even given a chance to do the vampire thing.
No, he just kind of woke up, and Jeff was there pushing the stake through his heart.
Yeah, it's like, bro, at least let him get one kill in.
No.
No?
No, he didn't get it.
I think it's only fair.
Jeff finds a crossbow and begins to search again for Maggie. Also, why are there all these weapons just laying around this one room?
I don't know. Barnabas is a collector, okay? He enjoys the finer things in life.
So Jeff follows the music from the music box and finds a panicked Willie and a comatose Maggie. Willie reveals that Barnabas is in the chapel waiting for Willie to bring Maggie to him for some reason. Willie then hits Jeff in the head and knocks him out. He then begins to take Maggie down to Barnabas.
Yeah, that was a cheap shot, dude.
Mm.
Fucking cheap. Fuck you, Willie. Son of a bitch.
Barnabas greets Maggie with open arms and calls her Josette. Oof. Jeff wakes up and is making his way down to the chapel, and then he lines up a shot from the balcony aiming for Barney. But as he shoots, Willie, for some fucking reason, dives in the way and is impaled. Barney then rips out the wood stake from Willie's body, and then he commands Jeff to come to him. Jeff goes down into the chapel and has only one shot left, but as soon as he makes eye contact with Barnabas, he becomes hypnotized and walks right to him. Barney then says, "Every wedding needs a witness, and you will be witness to this one." And as he leans down to Maggie, Jeff snaps out of it and stakes Barnabas right through his chest from the back. Talk about back shots.
I gotta give props to Willie though. He came in clutch with that fucking "get down, Mr. President" fucking shot.
No, too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Sorry about that. I mean, that's what. Not even fucking bullshit, bro. Get down, Mr. President.
Jeff takes Maggie into his arms and begins to carry her out of the chapel, and the credits start to roll. And that's the ending of the movie. That's it.
That's it. Show's over, folks. I'm just kidding. We're not done yet.
So, House of Dark Shadows is a 1970 horror movie film directed by Dan Curtis, who was also the creator and producer of the original Dark Shadows TV series. The movie is condensed down and slightly altered adaptation of the early storylines from the TV series, particularly focusing on the character of Barnabas Collins, the vampire. The Dark Shadows TV series, which aired from 1966 to 1971, which is 5 years. I want you to remember this when I'm about to give you a little more information. It had such a more elaborate and serialized storytelling format, allowing for detailed characters' development and complex plot lines over hundreds of episodes. The series mixed Gothic horror with soap opera elements, weaving together various supernatural stories, including time travel, ghosts, and witches. In contrast, the House of Dark Shadows compressed the narrative into a feature length film focusing primarily on Barnabas, which means some of the subplots and character arcs from the TV shows were either condensed or omitted.
Well, it sounds like we found our new Golden Girls.
Listen, I want you. Okay, so it went on for 5 years. How many episodes do you think there are?
Well,
5 years. It says hundreds of episodes.
I'm going to go with 864.
There are 1,225 episodes.
Good Lord. I don't know if I could watch that much soap opera.
It's so much content. It's so much content. And while they were filming this, it was during the mid-season. So a certain, like the season before the movie came out was still playing through. So there was lots of, a little bit of complicated like scheduling stuff from what I read. But yeah, there were over 1,000 episodes of this show. The film was shot on location in Tarrytown, New York, at the historic Lindenhurst Mansion, which stood for Collinswood, the Collins family estate. The choice for Lindenhurst Mansion added to a Gothic atmosphere in the film, providing a grand and eerie backdrop for the story. And the house is beautiful. It's amazing. I'm pretty sure it's the same house they used for the TV show. I'm pretty sure I read. It's still up and running, and they do tours. So you should definitely, if you're in the New York area, definitely go, maybe go look at it. It's really nice looking.
Yeah.
And guess what?
What?
There's a sequel.
No.
And being that there's a sequel, we'll probably watch the sequel eventually.
Okay, so let's talk real quick about the Johnny Depp Dark Shadows.
Okay.
Is that any way related to this?
It's based off of the soap opera in the movie.
Okay, so they are connected in such a way that the Johnny Depp one is just based on.
Yeah, he's Barnabas in the movie.
Okay.
I've only seen the remake once. It's also got Chloe Martinez or Chloe
Savini or whatever her name.
She was in Kick-Ass.
Oh, Moretz
or something yes.
like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah. But from what I remember, it wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched it in many years, many moons since I've seen that movie.
I've never seen it.
I remember the aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the aesthetic of the movie was really cool. Like it had really cool visuals, and it was a story thing. Like if the story is not there in the movie, and it's just something I can't get over.
Yeah.
You know, we could watch it again though. Talk about it.
Maybe one day. Yeah. One of my superpowers is that there's a lot of films that I haven't seen, which is kind of the basis of this whole podcast.
Yes, it is.
But I'm able to retain enough information about a lot of things to where I could kind of pass as having seen some films.
Yes.
And that's mainly due to me having autism. So those of you just tuning in, eventually you'll learn. I have a superpower. Okay. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, and we both may be a little autistic. One more than the other, definitely. But some of us have autistic tendencies. But you'll learn. You'll learn.
Yeah. I don't know what HD is, but the doctor said I got 80 of them motherfuckers.
I do have ADHD and dyslexia. It's a challenge over here in this household.
So
neurodivergent.
I like to call it neurospicy.
Neurotypical. What is that?
Get out of here. So, anyways, yeah, I'd probably give this film like a 5 out of 10. It wasn't a terrible movie. It was kind of a run-of-the-mill 70s horror vampire film.
Yeah, I don't know if I would really classify it as horror, honestly. It's not very scary. It's mysterious. It's eerie. It's creepy. I guess it is like subjectively horror. You know, people are gonna list it and put it in that genre, but for me,
Yeah, it's not a scary movie by any stretch of the imagination. I'm only classifying it as horror because vampire films are typically classified as horror films.
supernatural horror.
Typically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They are obviously undead. There's definitely the supernatural aspect to it.
Violence.
There's violence,
Yes.
gore sometimes. You do see blood,
Mm-hmm.
which is typical of a vampire film. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of middle of the road on this one.
I don't know. It's still like a solid 3, maybe a 4, maybe. But it was just it's the over dramatics for me that made it kind of meh.
They definitely tried to bring the soap opera to the silver screen.
Yeah, yeah, but I think also again, like I said, it's the actors and they're used to playing these roles in a certain style.
Right.
And that's what people like when they watch soap operas. They like that drama, that overacting drama. Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, that about wraps it up for us.
So next episode is Troy's selection. He got to choose the episode for episode 20. Dude.
Yes.
Can you believe that?
Next Sunday,
Yeah.
August 11th,
Mm-hmm.
episode 20 is coming out. And
I have D&D that day. Sorry.
Nice.
ADHD, man.
And it's so, to be completely transparent and to be completely fair, I have seen this film before.
Oh, I thought you hadn't seen it before.
I have seen it before.
Oh, when did you watch it?
This was years ago, a long time
Oh,
ago.
I thought you hadn't seen it.
I thought I hadn't, but I have. I have seen it.
Wow, Troy, I don't know how to feel about this. I think I need to rethink our whole relationship and our marriage at this point.
That's terrible.
I just don't know if I can trust you anymore.
That's crazy. Anyways, but yeah, we're watching.
So unbothered. Completely unbothered.
We're watching Twilight Zone, the movie.
Yes, we are.
And it's obviously got its own sort of, tainted history.
Yes, and we can get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that on the episode. We're also on the August 10th. We're going to be recording that episode live on Instagram.
Yes.
At 1 p.m. Pacific time.
So that's 4 p.m. Eastern, something like that.
I believe so.
Don't quote me on that. Look it up yourself.
It could be 3.
I'm not a reliable source on time.
Yeah.
Never.
We're American, okay? We don't do numbers well.
What?
Anyways, but yeah, jump over to Instagram. Go ahead, give us a follow, so that way you can be notified when we go live, and you can tune in and chat with us as we discuss Twilight Zone, the movie.
Well, we'll be chatting.
We'll be chatting
to each other,
and we'll take breaks. Chat to the fans.
Okay, we still have to record the podcast too, though.
Yes.
While we do that.
Obviously.
Okay.
And also, next week's intermissions episode, we're going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, we're going to go actually see that tomorrow.
Yep. Give you all the juicy details.
Yeah, while you guys listen to this, we'll be at the movies.
Yeah. So suck it. I'm just kidding.
Wow. We love you. Don't say that. That's mean. Tell them to suck it.
Please don't. Don't do that. But yeah, that about wraps it up. And so from us here.
Wait. Where can they find us?
Oh, well.
You gotta do it. You gotta remind them. What if they forget?
You can find us on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on YouTube.
Yep.
Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
Castbox.
Yep.
Or anywhere else you find your podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram.
Yes, those are all of our socials.
Twitter.
You can also find our website.
Threads.
www.andimadehimwatch.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can also send us an email at andimadehimwatch@gmail.com.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. Love to get some feedback from you guys.
We love the comments, and Troy's been doing a great job on the TikToks lately. He is doing a series about horror movies deep back in the past, like 1900s, 1800s.
Since the beginning of cinema.
So you should
Okay.
definitely check those out. He's very responsive to the comments as well. He's doing a great job.
Yes.
Very proud of him.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
Oh, you're doing a good job yourself.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Wow. That's what we need. A support system.
We do have a support system.
All right, then.
Okay.
That's good. I'm glad to hear.
All right.
Anyways, from us here at I Made Him Watch, stay spooky.
Bye.
So thanks for watching this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. I want to give a special shout out to Dani for her meticulous research on this episode, as well as to myself for the technical production prowess to give you the best sounding episode I can possibly muster. So please stay tuned next week. We're going to be watching Twilight Zone the movie. So keep your popcorn bowls ready and stay spooky.